Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. You're beautiful, and I love you. Thanks for stopping by. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. And Tobin and Leroy show, weekdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Check us on out, dude. We have fun. We get silly. We had some funny callers today. Really like just trying to laugh so we don't cry. But the Buzzards are circling the Dolphins, man. There's no doubt about that. I feel like the vultures are out. There's reports out there today that Jaelan Phillips could be drawing some trade interest from people, and that apparently the Cowboys. Oh man, Micah Parsons. I mean, like, I don't know. The San Francisco 49ers. They of course just lost Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, excuse me, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are obviously off to a really good start. And you got to think that they may be pushing more chips into the table. So JP's now on the block. We've heard Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb makes sense at his age if things do go awry. Just kind of was with Calais Campbell last year when this stuff was going. And then, of course, the Tyreek Hill rumors have not gone anywhere. And then the Steelers is the new one. Like the Steelers, and then, Oof, that was from I know Florio reported that a couple of weeks ago, and now Jeremy Fowler's reporting that from ESPN and Pro Football I think Network reported it today. And this is just what happens, like we're in a spot right now where people are wondering if the Dolphins lose, when do they start pulling the trigger on some of these moves to collect assets? The thing about it, though, is that's interesting. Like, I mean, I don't know who the guy is, right? That is going to really like jolt a rebuild if the Dolphins go that way. Like, there was always Laramie Tunsil back in the day, right? Where the Dolphins basically sucked all the blood out of that trade that they possibly could, and still didn't get a playoff wins off of it. But now you're of the residuals of it, and I just don't know who's the guy on this team that absolutely brings in a haul for whatever. And because I think it's like with Chubb, too old. I think with JP, too injury prone, and you got to give him a new contract. If the Dolphins do decide, like, hey, we're not sticking with this guy, well, what do you get for a guy who, has all the physical tools when those tools aren't broken, but you got to give him a new deal, and he's missed a lot of time. He's missed half of his career, basically. What does that garner you? A 4th-round pick? Probably. 3rd, maybe? I mean, maybe if you get a team real desperate, a 2nd, but I just feel like he's not going to bring in a king's ransom. And I don't know if the Dolphins really have that guy right now outside of, like, Patrick Paul. Like, if the Dolphins are just like, this guy's amazing, but we're never going to be revamped with him. But Patrick Paul looks like a guy who should play for the Dolphins for 15 years, as long as his giant body holds together, which you hope that it does. I don't know who the guy is that really gets the Dolphins a king's ransom, right? Like, certainly it's not going to be Tua, makes too much money, hasn't been good. Devon Achane, you got a couple of years left that you probably got to pay him, right? Or at least a year left before you got to pay him. He's probably the best asset the Dolphins have right now. If I had to break it down of like who's the guy the Dolphins could really sell high on, Achane is probably the dude because of how much production he gets, his price tag. That's probably the answer right now. And that's even considering like, hey, running backs don't always go for a ton, but he's one of those where like I could see somebody adding him, right? Like if the Dolphins really wanted to get a haul from the Kansas City Chiefs, they should call about Achane. They really shouldn't call about Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill, I mean, it's not that Tyreek Hill doesn't look like as good a football player. I just think everybody knows what it is with him, where it's like, yeah, but when's the next piece of baggage going to come with this guy, right? When is it going to be the other shoe to drop at some certain point, some bad headline? Like everything that's happened off the field with him in the past, this past year that led to his divorce. His divorce feels like it's going to be really nasty in the headlines. There's stuff in TMZ. I think there's even some publications that are trying to sue to get even more details out it. So, like, what team is going to sign up for that headache, even if he was at the peak of his powers, which he may be close to being. He looks like a guy who is getting open and still furious. But that was kind of my hope. My hope or my thought was when the Dolphins didn't trade him last year, it was because of that. It's because they knew, well, him leaving, walking off the field off of his worst season, that is literally the lowest his value is going to get. Let's at least try and rehabilitate this a little bit, which I understand. But now you have to consider the idea that he's still getting older, makes a ton of money, and you just never know when the next TMZ headline is going to be. You never know. This could be something that gets investigated by the league too. It doesn't appear, at least as far as we know, that is going to be the case because, maybe parties aren't going to be involved in investigations or whatnot. But it's just like, how many times do you have to see this stuff that the teams are going to be like, oh, yeah. Will a team do it for a fifth, a fourth? Yeah, probably. But are you going to get this king's ransom for Tyreek Hill? Hard to believe, dude. Hard to believe. And I think that's the thing that's disappointing about the situation right now. The Dolphins kind of feel like they got to reset everything on their own. There is no Micah Parsons. There's no superstar on this team that isn't lining up with your timetable. And there's nice pieces, but there's not that one, even Waddle. Like, even if the Dolphins were like, you know what? We're going in the Malik Washington era. We're done with these guys. Is even Jalen Waddle a guy who is going to get the Miami Dolphins a first-round pick back? Like, no baggage like Tyreek Hill, still talented, but hasn't put together those breakout games. Last year was a down year. And then on top of it, like, you have the situation with how the offense is looking. Can the quarterback get these guys juiced up enough to be productive and get people to want to give a haul? Like, yeah, there's some stagnant offenses out there that could certainly use these guys, but I don't know. And then on the defensive side of things, yeah, clearly like chop, but it's like, man, they just paid Zach Sealer. So if like you didn't pay Zach Sealer, which I was for, love Zach Sealer, but if you didn't pay him, then it's almost like, I don't know what would have led to getting you more, because it's not like he's the highest paid dude in the league. So somebody may still look at him and be like, all right, we'll give him a first round pick if it's a late first round team that wants to get in that game. If Baltimore's defense continues to suck, maybe that's the direction you can go. And I wouldn't want to see it because I love me some Zach Sealer. And then Minka Fitzpatrick, obviously, because he's not on that long a term of commitment. He just got more guaranteed money. So maybe Minka is that answer, but I don't think it's a first rounder. I think maybe that's some second round juice that you could get from Minka Fitzpatrick, and that's where it's at. But the Buzzards are out, dude. This is what comes with the territory. And it's only going to get worse if the Miami Dolphins do not win against the New York Jets on Monday. I mean, they're going to be like, that sounds like a seagull. That sounds like it. Didn't sound like a vulture. I honestly don't even know what vultures sound like. Death? Is that like, is it just grim? Either way, dude, you guys get the point. It ain't happy times right now in Dolphinsville.